What is up with this Unimate supplement that you may be seeing all over your For You page? If you have diabetes, insulin resistance, PCOS, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, chances are you've come across this supplement called Unimate. And if you haven't come across it yet, then this is your inside look at this supplement even before it's hit your For You page. But loads of people are talking about the supplement, and it's arrived recently in South Africa, and so a lot of people are curious about it. So if you are considering it, or if you just want to know more about the supplement, we'll be going through what's in these supplements, and then we'll go through some of the pros and cons so that you can make an informed decision. Hi, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Carmen, an integrative medical doctor and health coach, helping you fix your period problems naturally. And if it's your first time here, then welcome, and consider subscribing if this type of content is your jam. If it's not your first time here, then welcome back. If your For You page has been bombarded like mine has with this supplement, then you'll know that people are promoting it for its use to reverse symptoms of diabetes, reverse PCOS, help people lose weight, reverse insulin resistance. It seems like a miracle. Both these supplements, Unimate and Balance, actually come from this company called Unicity. We'll get into the Unimate and the Balance supplement in a second. Firstly, I think it is important to say that Unicity, at least these supplements from what I can tell, they're part of a multi-level marketing scheme. So in other words, if you produce a supplement, you may want to, just sell it directly to the market, but some companies actually choose to go the MLM route. And if you know nothing about MLMs, it's worthwhile checking out some information about these before you actually make a decision to buy anything from an MLM company, because the way MLMs work is that they usually will have the company that's created the supplement, in this case Unicity, and then the company will actually get distributors or people who are actually out there in the field promoting and encouraging people to use their products. But in the process, these people actually become these independent business owners, and in their promotion of the supplements to other people, they actually tend to have to build up a team around them who will also continue to promote and encourage other people to buy their products. So if you've never come across this idea before, then definitely do your research on this. But for those of you who know and understand multi-level marketing companies, then you may be familiar with some of them. Probably the most popular one that probably all of us know is Herbalife. But there's some other examples, MLM companies with essential oils, things like Young Living and doTERRA. There's a lot of them, okay? So ultimately, the difference here is that when you become a distributor for these MLM companies, you actually have to recruit people in your network, and then you have to kind of get those people to recruit more people. And so while it may not necessarily be a pyramid scheme, it does have the same shape as a pyramid scheme, right? Except you are actually buying and selling items or goods. One reason why you may be seeing so much hype and so much buzz around these supplements is that these supplements actually fall under this MLM structure. So it's highly likely that people who are promoting the supplement are actually part of the MLM as the distributors of the supplement, and they would therefore want you to not only just purchase the product once off, but become a repeat buyer and then recruit more people. And the way this MLM structure works is that the team leader, the person right at the top, tends to make the most money, and then the people that recruit after them tend to make less and less and less money. So it becomes really pressurized when you're right at the bottom, because you're like, oh, I need to recruit more people so that I can make more money, so that I can become like this team leader. And it kind of just can lend itself to some unethical behavior in some instances. If you want to learn more, there's lots of documentaries about MLMs, but one of the most succinct summaries that I've seen of MLMs is this piece done by John Oliver. So if you want to check it out, it's available here on YouTube. I'll link it down below. But ultimately, one of the main problems with MLMs is that oftentimes their products are really good. So really high quality products, maybe comparable to the market, sometimes maybe not. Sometimes there is something a little bit unique about these products, but oftentimes because of the structure of the MLM, they tend to be really overpriced, because of course, in order for you to make money as the person ultimately selling these products, you first need to pay the company, and then the distributors, and then perhaps a few people higher up than you before you actually potentially make an income. And sometimes, people can fall into these MLM traps and just dedicate lots of their life just trying to build this team, and sometimes end up losing a lot of money along the way. So generally speaking, not a fan of MLMs, but let's put that aside and let's see what's inside these supplements. Okay, so Unimate and Balance are generally sold together. So it's encouraged to buy both of these supplements together and utilize them together with intermittent fasting. So the formula is intermittent fasting plus Unimate plus Balance equals happiness, reduced insulin resistance, reversing diabetes, etc. It's important to kind of keep that in mind to kind of know how and why these supplements are meant to be working. They're meant to be working in combination with intermittent fasting. Okay, now there is a caveat there because intermittent fasting is amazing. I love it. I'm pro intermittent fasting. But if you are a woman and you're intermittent fasting, then you need to know that you cannot do intermittent fasting exactly the same as men do. Okay, so what's in Unimate? It says it's a highly concentrated yerba mate or herba mate drink. So the herb's name is herba mate, but because the company is Unicity, I'm assuming that's why they made the name of the supplement Unimate. It's a plant that's been grown originates in South America, and people have been using it for years, hundreds of years, for its stimulating properties. Okay, so people who've used this herb over the years have said that, it increases their mood, it increases their concentration, helps them to have more energy, in a similar way to how coffee and green tea and black tea would have the same effect. So they have this method where the plant is hand-picked, fire roasted, and then it is extracted and highly concentrated and then purified. And so it's the extract of the plant that's actually finding its way into this Unimate supplement. But essentially, it's a highly purified plant that has a stimulating effect on your body. So if you look at the label of the supplement, it contains mostly this plant extracts, 3 grams worth. Then it says it contains 2 grams of carbs and 3 different types of sweeteners. It's got erythritol, which is it's a natural sweetener, but it's 600 times sweeter than sugar. Sucralose, which is an artificial sweetener. In the US, it's sold as Splenda. And then it's also got a stevia extract and some citric acid. And the citric acid really is there because this plant is actually quite bitter. And so to offset that bitter taste, sometimes it's actually mixed with citrus or fruit juice. And so in this case, citric acid has been added to give that citrusy flavor. And then it's also got a little bit of natural flavor into it. So what I found interesting is that they actually don't mention how much caffeine is in the supplement, which I thought was strange because it obviously does contain a caffeine. And I seem to not have been the only person to have this question because on the brochure, it says frequently asked questions, how much caffeine is in 1 serving of Unimate? And the response is interesting. It says this product has been tested for an upper caffeine limit, and it has about as much caffeine as 1 cup of premium coffee. However, since natural ingredients can have some variation, the caffeine amount is not standardized. I would love to see how much caffeine is in a product, especially if it is known to have high caffeine levels. But they say, it's a natural product, so, it may vary, so we didn't add it into the label. Okay, so going back to our equation, which was intermittent fasting plus yerba mate plus balance equals happiness. So why would this supplement be useful in people who are trying to reduce insulin resistance, trying to lose weight, and also trying to reverse some of their chronic illnesses who also happen to be intermittent fasting? Well, because what the supplement does is because it is a stimulant, it actually suppresses your appetite. That may be important, if you are intermittent fasting and you're finding it difficult to control your hunger pangs and cravings, then of course the supplement may be helpful to suppress that and help you to actually stick to your fast. But just remember, there are other supplements that could potentially do that. And also, without knowing really how much caffeine is in here, it would also depend on how sensitive you really are to caffeine, how well your body metabolizes caffeine, whether you have other sources of caffeine in your daily life, teas, coffees, energy drinks, that kind of thing, and also how stressed out your body is. Because if you are already in a state of high stress and your body's continuously in fight or flight, and you're adding caffeine or at least high doses of caffeine into the mix, then it's possible that you may actually be stressing your body out even further. Especially if you are on a health journey, you know that sleep is super important. And if you're taking a supplement that's actually keeping you awake and triggering insomnia or anxiety, then that obviously is not great for your body's overall healing and also for stress management. You actually can get this yerba mate tea without actually getting it in this highly concentrated form. You can get loose leaf yerba mate tea, and you can even get other alternatives like green tea or even green coffee extract that may actually be doing exactly the same thing with regards to suppressing your appetite. Just remember that if you are sensitive to caffeine, so if you get extreme anxiety and palpitations and Even if you have an irregular heartbeat, then this may actually aggravate an existing underlying heart condition. And also if you have high blood pressure, then taking a supplement high in caffeine may actually increase your blood pressure even further. So proceed with caution when it comes to using this supplement, especially because, yes, it's based on a plant, so it's herbal, but it's really concentrated. And so anytime we concentrate nature, there's a potential for side effects. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. I also did a bit of research with regards to yerba mate, and there were some things that came up that were a little bit concerning with regards to it being potentially associated with the risk of certain cancers, although certain studies that mentioned this were unclear whether this was the result of the yerba mate herb itself or whether it was as a result of drinking the yerba mate when it was very hot. So it may have been that the heat actually was causing damage to the gastrointestinal tract and the mouth, and maybe even leading to the development of certain cancers. So it was shown to be associated with, but not necessarily that yerba mate actually caused cancer. And then it seemed that association was more common in people who smoked and drank alcohol. So balance, what is in this balance supplement? It's literally mostly fiber. So it says that it's got a proprietary formula of 5 different sources of fiber, and essentially these fibers are said to help to reduce cholesterol levels and slow the conversion of high glycemic carbohydrates into blood glucose. And these fibers are coming from guar gum, locust bean gum, citrus pectin, which is basically the fiber from citrus fruit, oat fiber, and beta glucans. If you look at the carbohydrates that are found in nature, they actually wrapped in fiber, and they also contain, plant nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and water. So they're hydrating, and they also contain the fiber. So even though there are carbohydrates there, you've got fiber and you've got water that are helping to hydrate and helping to slow down the absorption of some of those carbohydrates that may be coming from nature-based carbohydrates. But a lot of the man-made carbohydrates that we have today are often very refined, and a lot of them have their fiber completely stripped out of them. And when you don't have enough fiber in your diet, what happens is the carbohydrates that we eat eventually end up flooding into our blood and spiking our blood glucose levels. And because of that spike in blood glucose, that spikes our insulin, and eventually over time we can have these high levels of insulin and become insulin resistant, and eventually perhaps develop conditions like PCOS and diabetes. And so ultimately, when you look at the theory behind this, that okay, maybe we're not actually getting enough fiber in our diet, so supplementing with fiber is a good idea, but probably better than that is getting fiber from your diet. But we'll talk about that just now. So what else is in the supplement? Well, it says it also contains the Unicity 7X, which they say is a specialized blend of plant-derived polysaccharides. So these are basically soluble fibers. Some examples are things like cellulose and starch, and essentially when they mix with water, they form like this gel-like consistency. And again, what this is doing is it's slowing down how quickly the food that you are eating is absorbed into your bloodstream, how quickly that glucose spikes. And because you're actually blunting and reducing the glucose spike, you're reducing the insulin spike, and therefore you can help to better manage the insulin resistance and diabetes that may occur when you're having these repeated blood sugar roller coasters. It also contains phytosterols, which are basically the plant's version of cholesterol. So plants don't actually contain cholesterol, but they are almost like cholesterol-like components of plants. They're found in things like seeds and nuts. Essentially what these phytosterols are believed to do is they believe to reduce the absorption of cholesterol. Having these phytosterols is a good thing to add into our diet. And then it contains a mix of vitamins. So it's got some vitamin A, C, E, some B vitamins. It's also got some calcium and zinc. And then it's also got some natural and artificial flavors. And then it's also got some maltodextrin, which is a sweetener. So here's the thing. It's ideal to actually get your fiber from your diet. Okay, so the way that you do that is by eating more vegetables. Okay, this is the easiest way that you can do that. And you can try to do this by having a cup or 2 of vegetables with every meal. And that'll really help you to increase the amount of fiber that you're getting in on a daily basis. There are other hacks and tips and tricks that you can do that can actually take that even further. But yes, sure, increasing the amount of fiber is super important, because if you're eating highly refined foods that are low in fiber, it's going to impact your blood sugar level. Say, for example, you are changing your diet and, maybe you aren't really able to include that many vegetables in right now, and you need a supplement to kind of tide you over until you're ready to make those changes. To be honest, you can get plenty fiber supplements that don't cost anywhere near the amount of the supplement, right? So we're going to talk about the cost in a second, but I think it is important to know that fiber supplements are accessible and they're actually not that expensive. One of the things that I've seen a lot of people who are promoting the supplements say is that you don't actually have to change your diet. You can just take these supplements and then you can just live life as normal, and you'll still see results, you'll still lose weight, and that's why it's so easy to implement, and that's why it's a miracle. And I just want to say that, studies have been done on intermittent fasting that have shown that to be the case. You remember I said that when it comes to intermittent fasting, it's important if you are a woman with period problems and reproductive health issues, that you should not do intermittent fasting the same way that men do, right? So that's important to note. But let's say, for example, we just looked at intermittent fasting. Studies on people who have done intermittent fasting who have not changed their diet at all and just stuck to intermittent fasting have shown that they've actually seen results even without changing their diet. So, is this a function of the intermittent fasting, or is it the Unimate with the fiber? Was it a bit of both? Maybe, who knows? But ultimately, you can actually get these benefits with intermittent fasting alone, and then these supplements perhaps just can help to tide you over. But again, you can get these exact same things elsewhere for a fraction of the price. So let's wrap it up with the pros and the cons of these two supplements from Unicity. Well, firstly, the pros. I think it's fantastic that the conversation about insulin resistance and diabetes and wanting to reverse our symptoms naturally is becoming so topical and so top of mind for so many people. I think it is important for us to think about our health and how we can take agency and control over our well-being. So I do think that that's a positive thing. And I also do think that it's important to highlight the power of intermittent fasting, because I do think that's an important conversation to be had, and the power of fasting can really be life-changing. And also, we have to face it that the supplement is convenient, right? So you just simply mix it in water. You can take the Unimate in the morning to kind of extend your fast and keep you feeling full and give you a boost of energy and clear your brain and your brain fog. And then you can also take the fiber supplement before your meals to help to slow down the absorption of carbohydrates. So it's really convenient, easy sachets to just quickly dump and pour and drink, and that's great. The cons. So as I've said, you can get similar supplements for a fraction of the cost. And so price is a huge con here. And I do think that there are a few things to consider. Like we said, it's part of MLM, so that's why it's so expensive. But especially for us in South Africa, the cost is a big factor. I've seen people who are selling the supplement say that it's costing people upwards of 3,000 Rand a month. And that's on the cheaper end of the spectrum. Some people are paying upwards of 6,000 because they have to import it. And the cost is a huge factor. And I just want to say that it's not necessary to spend huge amounts of money to get health benefits from making simple lifestyle adjustments. It's possible to get these benefits way cheaper. And then importantly, I think part of the reason why it's gotten so much hype is because it is part of an MLM, which for me, it does tend to taint even some of the best products that I've seen. Just their participation in this multi-level marketing thing does tend to muddy the waters a little bit. And then of course, not only is there a cost with importing, but there's also the environmental impact that comes with that as well, which if you think about those things is something to consider. So here's the thing, if you decide, and maybe you have already decided to take Unicity's Unimate and Balance, and it's going to work for you because it makes sense, right? Especially if you combine these supplements with intermittent fasting, provided that you are fasting appropriately for whatever your condition is, and also provided that you are doing it carefully if you are especially a woman dealing with hormone imbalances. Great. It's going to give you results, and sometimes the results can be quite, dramatic, but remember that even if you do start off using the supplement, I still think that it's important to focus on how you can start to achieve these results in a more sustainable way. Because I don't know about you, but spending that much money on supplements every month for the rest of your life is not really something that I think is something that you have to do. Maybe it's a good place to like kick you off and get you started, but really it's really not necessary to do this forever and ever. But I do think that it's important to think about how you can actually potentially implement certain changes that will be more easy for you as a lifestyle. I hope that makes sense. Let me know what you think, and if you have used the supplement, let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, also let me know, and if you found this helpful as well, please let me know in the comments. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. And if you're still here, thank you so much for watching this all the way to the end. It really helps to support my channel, and I will see you in this video.